Rudy Blue.
Yes, middle name is Blue. Yes.
Yeah, Blue. And it seemed like just kind of standard obedient stuff. You have a Bernese, is that correct?
Yeah, I have an 11-month-old Bernese mountain dog. He's actually, I want to train him to be emotional support animal.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want him to be able to also be okay on airplanes and just in public spaces.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Um,
yeah.
but
Yeah, he's just getting to a point where he's just kind of too strong.
oh
I,
yeah.
yeah, um, maybe 2 weeks ago, I let go of the leash for a split second and he saw a dog across the street. He sprinted after the dog and a car came and actually he collided with the car.
Ooh,
And yeah, and after that, I'm like, okay, I need him to come when I say come. I need him to stop when I say stop because I don't want to. That was just kind of like a wake up call. He was in standard obedience when I first got him, but because of COVID, it kind of went online, and I
oh,
feel like he kind of missed out on just the consistency of things. But he's definitely like he wants to learn. Like he always makes eye contact with me. Um, it's just I think I just need to like have a strict schedule with him, and just to really make sure he's on it.
okay. Anything else?
Um, yeah, with when there's other dogs, like when we go to the park, he knows when we're about to go to the park, and he just like he pulls like all the time to get to the park. Like whenever there's another dog, he pulls, and it's just mostly trying to control him in those situations. And he's also very stubborn. Like I'm walking, and he'll just like sit and like, come on, let's go. But I know that's a Bernese thing; they're very stubborn. Um, but yeah, there's times when I'm just like, he needs to just like it's walking that's kind of the hardest, I would say. And
Sure.
when there's other dogs, yeah, just normal dog things.
Okay. Anything else?
um yeah, I guess just the traveling part with being in public spaces. Trying to think what else. I feel like I like doing off leash with him a lot.
Okay.
I when I took him to I would take him to the park where, and I'm sure a lot of your clients are in Lincoln Park. They all play around in the dog, yeah. So I want to be able to trust him more to like be able to come when I call, because that's the one thing he doesn't listen to is come.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, and then I sometimes take him on like adventure walks where he's off leash, and he's good about like looking back at me, always making sure I'm there. But I just want to like reiterate, just being my confidence in him with being off leash is important to me.
Okay. Anything else?
Um, I think that's all. Like, I don't know, yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. In Lincoln Park, where are you? What's your intersection?
I'm at Racine and Webster, so I'm like right next to that other like baseball field area.
I'm at Oz Park.
So Oz Park is like 5 minutes away, but there's another park that's like more closer to like past Armitage. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. I think I may have passed that one, just like in driving.
Hmm.
Okay. It's because I have a lot, like, because when you mentioned Lincoln Park, I actually have, it's interesting. I have kind of two clusters of clients that I've trained. One is over by Trevis Park, which is Webster and
I think that might be the park I'm talking about.
oh, do you know like Nash and Shadow and Roxy and
Yeah, so one when the whole incident happened with Rudy getting hit by a car, one of your clients was there, and she recommended you, so that's how I knew. I can't remember her name, but
is she
I'll have
blonde?
is what
Is she blonde?
I think she has brown hair, but
Was he like shorter?
yeah.
Yeah, that was probably Paige because
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen
it was
like
Paige. Yeah,
5 or 6 dogs in that immediate area.
yeah,
So,
that's how
okay,
I found
yeah,
you. Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Um, so, um, does she fill you in on how I approach training and everything?
Not really, no.
Okay, so I'll kind of educate you on my standard and uh, why I do the methods that I do and all that stuff. So did you do any reading up on us and just says like our approach and stuff, or did you kind of just get referred and you decided to submit a form?
I briefly don't you use the a certain collar, right, for the
E-collar,
dogs?
correct.
And what is the e-collar?
So the e-collar, you may have heard it termed more like, or more commonly known as like the shock collar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Shock is an inappropriate term. It's a term that's used more so to deter people from using the tool,
Mm-hmm.
because in the dog training world, we have positive reinforcement, with the treats and like all that stuff. And they're completely like anti trainers like myself. And then you have trainers like myself. And it's not that I'm against positive reinforcement. I just use it or incorporate it. Like, so I'll use it for puppies under 6 months because they're just puppies.
Yeah.
Real simple kindergarten stuff. So I use food. But after they're 6 months, I can train a puppy to an adult level. Okay. So the only time I would use food for an adult dog is if they have like confidence issues and I need to balance out the training a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But that is super rare. Like most of the time, we just do the training purely through remote collar, then food's not needed. Okay.
Okay.
So an e-collar is, have you ever been to a physical therapist or a chiropractor?
Mm-hmm.
You have. Have you ever had stim?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, that's an e-collar.
Okay, so it's just kind of like a vibration almost.
It's yeah, muscle contraction.
Okay, so that's the only way you train the dogs then? It's just with that.
Correct. And I'll explain why. So there's a lot of stuff that you'll read online, or maybe people will tell you like, oh, if you have a great relationship with your dog will like listen to you, or your dog will want to make you happy, or like want to please you and stuff like that. That's all just human emotional stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dogs are self-serving.
Mm-hmm.
Animals are self-serving. They're even though they're domesticated and they live with humans, their instinct is to survive and replicate. That's their genetic code. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we get them neutered or spayed, so that removes the replicate part of it. But if it, like the instance where you said like he got off leash to go towards a dog or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And hit the car. He did that because he wanted to.
Yeah.
He didn't do that to make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if he did things to make you happy, he wouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's just the way of the world, just people putting these things on dogs and it's not true.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like the wake up call where I'll tell you just how it is. I don't care what people call their dogs doggo and, the little floof and they love them and stuff. I get it. But I just want to know that I have control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the other thing is you have a very large dog.
Yeah.
You have a Bernese.
Yeah.
And I've trained quite a few Bernese and I've trained quite a few St. Bernards. They are very powerful, powerful dogs.
Yeah.
And they could be as friendly as possible, but like right there, your dog almost hurt themselves, right? And could actually hurt you. So in that, so Paige, I'm assuming it was Paige because she's the only brunette in that area that I've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's another dog and they're really good friends. So Paige and Melissa live in the same building.
Mm-hmm.
And Melissa's her dog is Nash, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Nash is he's completely white and he's got like kind of like brown little speckles on his ears, but other than that, he's white.
Yeah.
And he's a good size. I think he's like 70 pounds, maybe 80 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And he broke Melissa's husband's shoulder twice and sent them to the ER, I believe 3 times in 2 years.
Wow.
Okay, because he's a very large dog, but he was very friendly and
Yeah.
untrained and was pulling him everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I got Nash under control within one class,
Wow.
okay, because of e-collar.
Yeah.
So the way it works is dogs are physical animals. They bite each other, okay? So like, if you took Blue, like let's say to the dog park and then Blue was like, playing too roughly with the dog and that dog did not like it, the dog doesn't say, would you please back off and
Mm-hmm.
respect my space? The dog just bites.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're not being aggressive. They're just saying, hey, respect my boundary, and here's a consequence for what you just did. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So dogs will regulate themselves what's changed things quite a bit is humans don't regulate each other. We have like laws and judges and cops that essentially do that for us,
Mhm.
right? So if someone's like, harassing you, you wouldn't just like up and defend yourself and beat that person up. You would like call the cops first and say like, hi, I'm being like assaulted, blah, 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 blah. Then they
Mhm.
would send someone and then they would kind of regulate the whole instance unless like there was direct physical harm being threatened or done to you, then you're kind of validated of I need to reciprocate, right? In the dog world, they don't have cops. Okay.
Yeah.
In the dog world, if and you may see this at a dog park or have seen this where like a dog will get out of line and then all the dogs charge,
Mhm.
because they're regulating and they're going, yo, this is not going to happen here.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they use physicality for that stuff. As humans, we have language and we can communicate and say like, hey, could you give me some space? I don't, you're too close, blah, 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 blah. Um, and we don't really go to physical, but we technically still do, right? So like if an argument escalates, it becomes a physical fight. It may get to the point where a person is on the ground unconscious, right? So even humans are physical animals. It's just we have a language, a very complex language now that kind of that we can use as a precursor to prevent those things from escalating to that degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
So e-collar is our means of physicality, but it's very non-confrontational.
Mhm.
Okay. So people typically think when I come in with the e-collar, it's I'm gonna punish the dog, I'm gonna make the dog yelp and roll on the ground and like, that it's a very unpleasant experience. And that's actually not how it works.
Yeah.
Not that that is not an approach, but it's like extraordinarily rare if I have to come in that harshly with the dog. Okay.
Mhm.
And this is why we've begun recording everything. One is because due to COVID, um, things have changed. I know you had mentioned that it went completely virtual,
Yeah.
and because of e-collar, it's allowed me to work with clients via verbal instruction. I don't touch the dog; the owner does everything, but I'm getting the same level of quality training that I was doing pre-COVID when I used to work with the dog or with the owner.
Oh, so you won't be there when I
No,
train?
I'll be there,
Oh, okay.
but I'll be coaching you.
Okay.
Okay. And
Got
if you
it.
go to our YouTube channel, so I'm there, but I'll be present with you at the park.
Mhm.
We've been working at Oz Park because Oz Park is a very busy, distracting environment. So we're already in a very realistic environment. Okay. So we're not starting in a quiet room. We're not starting anywhere that's, completely like confined or anything like that. We're out there. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I coach you through the entire thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So so because it is verbal instruction, it is a ton of information.
Mhm.
You're going to forget stuff.
Mhm.
So we've been recording everything and we put it up on YouTube. So you're more than welcome to check out our YouTube channel.
Mhm.
The training sessions are completely uncut, unedited. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see like, wow, Jesse started with this crazy ass dog. And at the end of the class, the dog was focused and
Yeah.
relaxed in
Yeah. Yeah.
obedient. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Cool.
so
Yeah. I was gonna say, whenever you're talking about like dogs, like if he attacked or something, it's almost the opposite with Rudy. He's like super friendly and just like wants to play with every single dog. And the only thing I'm worried about is the other dog, like how that dog might react to
right,
Rudy's, like, because he just like gets in their face and just like loves every dog. So
right.
I haven't had problems with him like being like, aggressive. It's just kind of like he's just too friendly. He just wants to play with everyone.
Right. No, no, no. I wasn't saying he was aggressive. I'm just talking about dogs in general.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you said yourself, like you said, a concern for you is that he's so friendly, he has no boundaries, that you
Yeah.
don't know how that dog's going to respond.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
what I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Is that dogs use physical means of addressing things. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in my experience, I know people judge a lot of things according to the breed. Like they'll say, "Oh, I got a Bernese," and Bernese are like the sweetest, gentlest giants, whatever. I actually worked with a Bernese 2 years ago that bit the crap out of 3 people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so breed has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's just the dog's temperament.
Temperament. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely.
And the other thing that people do is that they take things at face value when it comes to their dogs.
Hmm.
So like you know, when people rescue a dog, the dog will be friendly with them, and then they're surprised that 2 to 3 weeks later, the dog's being aggressive with other people.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think that.
I get that because I remember one time a dog was chasing after Rudy and the guy's like, he's okay, he's friendly, he's friendly. I'm like, okay. And then 5 seconds later, the dog went at Rudy. I was like, your dog's not friendly. Like, I know
Yeah,
they're unpredictable.
yeah. There's other things. So I just tell everybody like, you know, I'm sure that I'm sure Rudy like Blue's friendly and all that stuff until, and I'm not saying that he does, until you come across something he doesn't like.
Hmm.
How it works. Okay. Like
Hmm.
I'm a social person. I'm a nice person,
Hmm.
but I also get pissed off.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Something happens that I don't like. Right. So it's the same thing for dogs. You
yeah.
know, they get nervous, we get nervous. They get scared, we get scared. They get anxious, we get anxious. They can become aggressive, we can become aggressive. Okay. All the same stuff. But you know, some temperaments of dogs are very unlikely to go to that.
Hmm.
That's how I look at it. Okay.
Yeah.
So um, we've been recording the sessions because in case you forget something or maybe something you didn't quite understand, or you know, you can always revert back to your video and watch that part that you missed or whatever.
Okay.
It also acts as kind of like a database for our clients,
Yeah.
because I have some clients that are struggling with stuff, and I'll send them a video from another client and I'll say, hey, watch this like 30 minutes in. This is what you're trying to do.
Hmm.
So it gives them the insight and the visual of the visual of like, oh, okay, like that's what we're looking for. Because that's the hard part for people is they don't know what they're looking for.
Hmm.
I do, because I've already done this for 10 years,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So e-collars allowed me to do, you know, kind of revamp up my business because I went from like 30 to 40 clients pre-COVID to like zero
Hmm.
when COVID hit. And I knew I could still train dogs even without having to touch them. But
Hmm.
then we were getting calls and people were like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. And then Melissa with Nash, she was actually our first post-COVID client. And I wish I would have recorded their first 2 sessions.
Yeah, she
Um,
said that you changed their dog's life, and
yeah.
yeah.
Um, and then she did a testimonial video. And then after she did her testimonial video, then we started to like ramp back up. And now I'm back up to like a fairly busy schedule.
Yeah.
Um, so the other thing is, since Blue is such a large dog, it's not so much about physical control because he's going to overpower you.
Hmm.
And he'll overpower me, and and unless you're a very large person, like he's got more leverage.
Yeah.
It's not about physical control; it's about mental control.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so um, I had a client. She was about maybe 90, 95 pounds, was very small, very petite, and she had a 150-pound Great Dane.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was dog reactive. So he would lunge and bark when he would see dogs.
Oh
So
wow.
he would just drag her down the street.
Yeah.
So in her case, we did e-collar, but we also paired it with a prong collar because she needed as much leverage as
Yeah.
possible.
I was gonna. Yeah. I definitely want to do a prong collar. I was just trying hard time finding the right one. My breeder told me I should use the prong collar for him just to because he's broken 3 leashes already from just the pull. So, yeah. There's times I'm just like just have to stay still until he sits, and then he'll sit down. So, but it's just that initial lunge. I'm like, nope.
Yeah. So they're perfectly safe to use with each other, the prong and the e-collar.
Mhm.
I look at the prong as more of the immediate control when needed. So like for that young lady, like if she turned the corner, because she lived in Wicker Park,
Mhm.
she could turn the corner, there'd be a dog there.
Yeah.
Is that the prong collar was there in case she turned a corner and she needed that immediate control. But
Mhm.
really, it was just all this was so calm and under control that we wouldn't see reactivity. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they work in conjunction with each other. My preference is always to try to do as much on the e-collar as possible because everything's at the press of a button.
Mhm.
Okay. The other thing is we don't have to worry about physical strength. Okay, because
Mhm.
the e-collar will compensate all that for you. Okay,
Okay.
because of the intensity. So like at the therapist's office, whatever, and they put the stim machine, you know, they'll start low and then they begin to work their way up. And then
Mhm.
you would tell them like that's too much, right? And then they lower it and then they let the machine do its job. So it's kind of the same with dogs. We
Yeah.
start low and then we work our way up until I find a number that's concerning to Blue. Okay.
Mhm.
So the reason why we need a number that's concerning to him is because that's what's going to give you um, the immediate progress very quickly.
Mhm.
Okay. Because no one likes discomfort. Okay. No one likes being either emotionally uncomfortable, mentally uncomfortable, or like physically uncomfortable. If
Mhm.
you find yourself in that situation, you're thinking, how do I stop this or how do I get out of this? Right.
Mhm.
Same thing for the dog. So we're
Yeah.
using physical discomfort, right? To shape everything that we want. So then, his breed, his size, none of that stuff matters. Like he's a large dog, so I'm thinking like probably going to be higher up on the collar because he's a large dog and he's physically tough, or he could be super low. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know. Blue knows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've had small dogs be very high on the collar. They could be a 15-pound dog and their number is 85 at 127. Okay.
Mhm.
I currently have 5 to 7 dogs whose numbers are just naturally at like 85 and higher. Okay, because they're physically just very tough.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
yelping. They're not yelping. They're not crying or anything like that. They're
Yeah.
compliant.
Yeah.
It takes that much power in order to get them to be compliant.
Manage it. Yeah.
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 Other people, it's like the typical range is 25 to 35 for most dogs. Okay.
Okay.
That's the typical range. And then there's the outliers. There's some dogs that are very low. Like I have maybe like three that are like on 3 to 5.
Mhm.
Most are 25 to 35. And then you have those that are like 85 and above.
Mhm.
Okay. So there's a spectrum. It's kind of all over the place, but I don't know until I walk in and I start working when you
Yeah.
start
Definitely.
training
Yeah. That
through.
makes sense. Okay.
When it comes to the control, and I know you said ESA dog and all that stuff,
Mhm.
is you need to start exposing them.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously with COVID and everything, it's kind of changed a lot of stuff. But like going to a Home Depot, going to a PetSmart, a Petco, any place that would allow you to bring your dog inside,
Mhm.
um, you're gonna want to start doing that stuff and exposing him to get him used to that.
Mhm.
Okay, because if you go from quarantine and the park and then you try to go to an airplane, good luck.
Gonna be nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, and it could be very smooth. We don't know,
Yeah.
but you're going to be much more successful if you've already been kind of exposing them to things throughout life, and then like a year later, it's like, okay, now we're going on an airplane. But
Yeah.
a year of exposure.
Yeah. We'll get kicked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not worried about that really. As long as you do the homework and you like follow through and everything.
Mhm.
And there's actually another lady who's just wrapping up a program with me. Her dog's name is Luna, and her name's Elizabeth.
Yeah, I know Luna actually. She goes to the same park as Rudy.
Yeah. So her owner has her as an ESA as well.
Mhm.
Okay. So, and I was telling her the same thing because she was like, I'm going to be flying and I'm going to take her with me. And I was like, well, start exposing her and all that stuff
Mhm.
because Luna's actually genetically nervous.
Mhm.
Okay. So she's come a long way because of the training, but she still needs more exposure so that she gets over that nervousness and like new
Yeah.
environments and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, any questions so far?
Um, no, I don't think so. Um, I guess I just have to get comfortable with the idea of an e-collar because I know like it obviously is something that works, and especially with Rudy, where when you go outside, treats don't do it anymore. So it seems like it's the safest thing for him to
Yeah.
do.
Well,
So
for everyone,
yeah.
it's safe for him, it's safe for you, and like let's say you said, I'm not comfortable with e-collar, but I'll do prong collar.
Hmm.
I tell you no. Okay, I'm sure you could find a trainer that would, but the reason why I would tell you no is because have you ever used a prong collar before?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So most people put the prong collar on the dog. It's the spiky looking one, of course, and they think that when the dog pulls, the spikes will dissuade the dog from pulling,
Hmm.
right? And sometimes it does, but more often than not, it doesn't,
Hmm.
because it's not meant to be put on the dog and not used. It's meant to be used.
Yeah.
So like if Blue did something I disagreed with, you'd have to yank on the collar to create a biting motion,
Yeah.
much like a dog would bite them. So
Yeah.
the problem here is one, people don't like the yanking part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Two, let's say you're comfortable with it, but you have 120-pound or 100-pound dog. He's
Hmm.
very tough, and you're trying to yank him to get him to stop pulling, but that doesn't phase him. You're not strong enough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I could give, and I've had dogs where I give the hardest yank I can give, and they're like, "Is that all you got?"
Yeah. Oh
You
my
know,
God.
it's like in the movies when they have like a really big guy and somebody punches the guy and the guy's like completely unfazed. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So prong collar is a very good tool, but it has limitations. So the
Hmm.
reason why I only train with e-collar for puppies and dogs after 6 months
Hmm.
is because it gives me the most consistent results, and the results are always very high. It's
Okay.
the only tool that will get you off leash control. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Because you have to think about it this way. Let's say you spend a year training Blue without the e-collar on the prong collar or whatever, right? You do a lot of food, you do the prong collar, but then what you're going to struggle with is when you remove the leash,
Hmm.
Blue will know you do not have the means of making him come back. You do
Hmm.
not have the means of making him listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
he'll be great. He could be great on leash, but then off leash you're still at square one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with you, and I'm definitely open to using the e-collar. So I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
I know there's a lot of methods and stuff, and I've been doing this for 10 years. Because I get clients that like will tell me how to train their dog and say like, I want you to train my dog to be off leash with only food, and I'll tell them no.
Hmm.
I'll find another trainer because I was like, I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why everybody at the park there's Roxy, Shadow, Nash, Luna. I'm going to start training Winnie, um, and
Winnie, is she a chocolate lab?
yeah, she's a little
Okay.
puppy. Yeah,
Yep.
they're
They
going to
all
start
play together at the park. Yep. Yeah.
yeah, she's going to start in like a couple of weeks.
Okay. And then
So
did you train Otto?
oh yeah, the Doberman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I trained him like a year ago.
Okay. Yeah. Because he was the first dog Rudy met at the park, but yeah. And now the other day though he did kind of like was growling, but I don't know what it was. I think it's probably because the girl's not there anymore. I don't know. I noticed a difference when the female was there versus the male.
Oh, sure. So yeah, Otto is a kind of nervous, anxious personality.
Hmm.
Okay, and that's where a lot of his issues come from.
Hmm.
He's good once he acclimates and he's kind of comfortable.
Hmm.
Um, and so when we deal with behavior, like I remember working with them beginning, and I told them like, I can't make your dog unanxious or unnervous. Your dog is just genetically wired that way. I
Hmm.
was like, but I can give you the means of either having obedient control or the means of stopping a behavior that you disagree with, like let's say the growling or whatever.
Hmm.
You know, whereas I think everybody else there has just been is a social dog. They just wanted better obedience or whatever. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think Otto's the only like behavioral case that I did in that little
Group.
kind
Yeah.
of group of
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Okay. So will you be providing the e-collars and then the prong collar?
No, you would get your own. We would send you the information.
Okay, I was gonna say yeah, because I definitely need recommendations on prong collars.
Yes. There's only one brand that I use. It's not that expensive. They're like maybe the market fluctuates.
Mhm.
But sometimes you can get them as low as $17, and then sometimes they're as high as like 35.
Okay, I'm fine with whatever it is. Yeah, I just want it to work because he's broken so many leashes. So.
Yeah. What I would probably suggest if you want more security,
Mhm.
um, you would actually be the first person that I have buy this particular leash or a similar style.
Mhm.
Is they made a leash. It was designed by a trainer, and it goes. There's two clips. One that would go to your prong collar, and a second one that would go to like a flat collar.
Mhm.
Okay, so like you have a backup in case something happens.
Yeah, I
But
might be.
also
Yeah, I think that might be something good. Just yeah, I'm
just
just
have
scared it breaks, and I'm like, yeah, because
yeah
it's done that. The entire handle just went off. I'm like, I'm so glad I wasn't in a bad area. Like,
yeah.
so scary.
So yeah, it's a really well made leash. I've actually never seen them. you know, in
Mhm.
person, but I've seen it on their like Instagram. So it's
Okay.
always kind of been in the back of my head of like, if someone needs it, like I would use it. So
Yeah.
we would send you that information. Now the collar, how much does Blue weigh?
Um, I haven't weighed him in a while, but I think he's around 110, maybe one. He's probably around 110, but I know he's growing. Like I think he's going to be 10 more pounds more.
Gotcha. So we have a couple of things here. One is the collar I would actually recommend for Blue got discontinued.
Okay.
So there's only one brand that I use. That brand is Dogtra.
Okay.
We'll send you this information, so don't worry about having to remember it. And they had a collar that was meant for 70-pound dogs and over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then for whatever reason, maybe because of COVID or something, they discontinued it, which I'm not sure why, because dogs like Blue, because he's big, he's 110 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
need it. And the difference is the contraction. So there's like four different models that I use. One is meant for dogs under 10 pounds. One
Mm-hmm.
is meant for dogs under 35 pounds. The others for dogs under 70 pounds. And the last one was dogs over 70 pounds. Okay.
Okay.
So since they discontinued that one, I've been trying to figure out of what to recommend people, um, because the one underneath that is supposed to be for smaller dogs. Um, they did suggest to me a newer model that they just came out with. And I'll send you the information for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be kind of like we're gonna have to see how well it does with with Blue,
Mm-hmm.
in terms of how well he responds to it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is just the contraction. Okay, so like um, let's say on the higher powered model, Blue's number is like 45. Okay, but on the lower powered model, it could be 80 because it doesn't have as much output. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest difference is that you're probably going to have a much higher number. So there's two collars that I would recommend. The one is for 70 pounds and under, and that one runs about 287 with tax.
Okay.
We would send you the information for that one. And then the other one, I'm actually not too sure how much it runs. It'd probably be somewhere around that range because it just came out and I've not used it yet. Okay.
Okay.
But Maria, we'll look into it and we'll send you the link to it, and you can get them on Amazon.
Okay.
Um, these systems are fully waterproof, both the receiver and the transmitter. Um, I know the one that the 2287 one has a 3/4 mile range, so plenty of range for the average family pet.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 127 different levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so cheaper brands, will go to like 5 or 10, and ours goes to 127. And 10 and 127 are the same. I just have 117 more divisions.
Okay.
So it's much more fine tuned. You don't have to worry about like, because what can happen with the other models is that it's either too high and your dog's yelping, or it's too low and your dog doesn't listen. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I don't use those other models because it's just they're not effective.
Okay. Yeah. I'll use whatever you recommend. So.
They come with the warranty, so if anything happens, you can, there's a 1 year warranty, and on Amazon, I believe you can even extend it to a 3 year warranty.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that much more.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything happens, you can just send it in. They'll repair it and they'll send it back, and
Okay.
go.
For like schedules, like, are you open in the mornings?
Yeah. So I train every day but Wednesdays.
Okay.
So
So,
Maria would reach out and then ask you what your schedule is,
okay.
and then you could say like, oh, 10 o'clock on Mondays or whatever. And then if it's open, she would turn around and say, yes, Jesse's available or whatever.
Okay. So like if I do like the beginning, like intro, like the I know you have different levels of training, like different classes. If I just do the first one and just see how it goes, can I always add on?
You can. So, because there's 4 program links. There's 3, 6, 9, and 12.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at minimum, I recommend people do 6. The 3 week is more so if you just want your dog to like not be reactive, like lunge and bark.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the 6 week one, we cover the leash walking and we cover recall. The 9 week one, So the 9-week one is the same thing, but we get heel, recall, and then stationary control, which is like lay down, don't move for like 2 hours.
Mhm.
And then the 12-week is where we train everything to be fully off leash.
Okay. And those are
Now,
like 1 hour sessions, I'm assuming.
correct, 1 hour sessions, 1 time a week.
Okay.
Um, so I teach you what to do, and then you have your homework. You'd have to practice and apply things in order to make progress.
Mhm.
Um, as long as you follow my instructions, there really shouldn't be any issues. Okay, the only time that there's any struggling or any issues or delay in the owner's progress is because they're not doing what I'm telling
Practicing.
them or they're not practicing.
Yeah. Okay.
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 Um, the way it works is, let's say you do the 6 classes and you do Monday at 10. Monday at 10 for 6 weeks plus one, so 7 weeks total, is your time. No
Mhm.
one can take it from you. Okay. Let's say you cancel like 2 to 3 times or whatever for travel. Come that 7th week, you've used up what we call your priority.
Mhm.
And if somebody needed that time, Maria would tell you, like, it should tell you beforehand, like, hey, you've lost your priority, you're going to lose your priority, and we have someone booking right after you.
Mhm.
Is that she would just move you to a different time, and then you'd finish your program on a different day or whatever.
Okay. That's nice. Yeah.
If you decided to extend your program, if no one's wanting the time after you, then we just give you the same time.
Okay.
If somebody's already booked after you, then Maria would say you can either wait till they're done or you can book for a different time.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Um, other questions?
You said you work on the weekends too?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That might work then. Uh, no, I'm excited. I'm glad I needed to do one-on-one training with him because last time it was like a group class, and so yeah, I know he'll benefit from this, and he's like I said, he like wants to learn. So I think I just had to, yeah. So I'm glad that I connected with you on it, and um, yeah. So thank you.
I have a, a really common question that I get
Mhm.
is, when does e-collar go away?
Mhm.
Okay. And you may have seen with those dogs that I trained that they have their e-collars on,
Yeah.
right? So I don't like the word dog training because training implies that we would be done at some point,
Mhm.
right? So like for you, let's say you got a new job and there was a skill set that you needed that you
Mhm.
didn't have, and they would say like, we're going to train you for 3 weeks.
Mhm.
And you would learn that skill set, and then you could come back and just naturally apply them whenever
Mhm.
you needed that, right? Dogs don't do that.
Yeah, they need it constantly.
Right. So the way I look at it as, when you need it, you have it.
Hmm.
So do you drive?
Yeah, I do.
Do you go on the expressway? Do
Yeah,
you go the speed limit?
I think I do.
You do or you do?
Like 10 miles.
So most people don't go the speed limit. I think we can agree, on the expressway, like in the inner streets, most people do, right? On occasion, you'll get someone who speeds through whatever. But
Mhm.
on the expressway, people are more likely to speed. Okay.
Yeah,
Now, if you were to see a squad car, what do you think would happen?
yeah, you slow down.
Yeah, because you don't want a ticket, right? There's that threat of consequence. So
Hmm.
I look at the e-collar as a cop on a collar.
Hmm.
Okay. When I need it, I have it,
Yeah,
which means whenever you're going to be out with him, it's
yeah.
nothing bad. It's not that you're always using it.
Hmm.
Once he's trained, he like you can give the cue. He knows what he's got a good concept.
Hmm.
Knows you can reinforce it. We get compliance,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But because he's a dog and he can make his own decisions,
Hmm.
let's say one day you take him for a walk and there's a rabbit that runs right across from you, and he decides, whoa, rabbit, right? And he starts to break away from you. Now you can correct that behavior and go, nope,
Yeah,
not going to happen,
extra security. Yeah.
right? Um, whenever anybody's kind of like reached out and said like, Jesse, I'm so glad I did e-collar. Like it's some crazy scenario. Like Melissa Nash actually has one where Nash, I think after the second class, like took off on them towards the street,
Oh
and
my
she had
God.
to max out the collar to make him return. And we hadn't even done recall yet, I don't believe.
Yeah,
And she was like, he was about to run in the street. And she's like, I panicked and I did that, but he came back. I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
that was what you would do.
yeah.
Um, Roxy with Naranga, Roxy's the like the black and white pitty, or it's
Uh-huh.
like a dark brown pitty. Um, she at Travis Park actually took off on her chasing a rabbit and almost ran into the street. She ran towards the playground and then almost went into the street, and she had to max out the collar and make her return as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
so things like that are going to happen, and that's not about obedience. That's because dogs are predators and things like that. Like if something happens very quickly, they're just gonna go.
Naturally, yeah.
So it allows you to always have that control, even in those unexpected moments, and that's what I train for. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
I want you to have the control, the obedience and stuff, and that will change a lot of things. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you might see them settle more.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see them not be so how do you say, intrusive on a dog. And if he is, you can actually control him now. So
Mm-hmm.
if you take him to the dog park and you see maybe a dog doesn't like the way that Blue is approaching him, you can use the e-collar to correct him to
Correct.
leave that dog alone.
Yeah.
Right? So
Okay.
now you can control his behavior as well, not just the obedience stuff. You can also go like, don't try to like mount a dog, or don't put your face in another dog's face like that. Right? You can use
Mm-hmm.
the e-collar to correct those
Mm-hmm.
things.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it has nothing to do with the training methods. It has nothing to do with my skills as a trainer. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, if an animal can get away with something, it's
Mm-hmm.
opportunistic behavior, they're going to try it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that reminded me. I forgot to mention I'm gonna eventually take my dog to work when we go back, so he'll be at work with me too. So,
Okay.
um, yeah, so it'll be good to have control in the in work environment too.
Is it like an office environment? Is it like an open office environment, or where
Yeah, it's kind of a big lofted space.
you
Um,
work at?
well, this it's design. It's like a design agency.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We have a place right here by us at my facility. It's called Coyote Logistics. And
Okay.
every Friday they can bring their dogs, and it's like huge, just like open loft space. And I remember going there and just dogs were like running around.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be like. It's yeah. I haven't been there yet. It's a new job, so when things get
Gotcha.
back into it, yeah, they have dogs running around too. So
Sure, sure.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the links you're going to send with the leash recommendations,
Sure.
and I'll get
And
on that.
yeah, and if you go to our website and you see the videos that we have up, you can click on any video and it'll take you to our YouTube channel.
Hmm.
And there's tons of videos. And I'm also doing more in-depth videos where I break things down to educate people on e-collar, because people are just really misinformed on it.
Hmm. Okay,
So if
cool.
you're if you want to see like, is Jesse really like talking the talk, or is he going to walk the walk?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A video. That's why
Okay,
it's
yeah,
a good
I'll
for.
definitely do some more research, and so we could start as soon as possible then.
Yeah, so I'm gonna contact Maria. She'll turn around and like get in contact with you, and
Okay.
then she'll do the scheduling, the accounting stuff, and all that, and then she'll take care of the rest. Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, I look forward to working with you.
Awesome. So if you need anything else, you let us know. Other than that, it was a pleasure. Okay, Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.